Nel 2007 è stata adottata dall'ONU la Carta dei diritti dei popoli indigeni. Questa adozione faceva seguito a 20 anni di lavoro da parte delle delegazioni indigene che hanno lavorato alla sua stesura. Ora lo Human Rights Council, il Consiglio per i diritti umani, ha fondato un altro organismo, che si chiama Expert Mechanism on the Right of Indigenous Peoples. Questa commissione ha lo scopo di tutelare la Carta dei diritti e di fare in modo che venga messa in pratica, facendo suggerimenti, studiando provvedimenti e quindi tutto quello che comporta la messa in opera di questa Carta dei diritti. Can you describe us a little bit the work of the expert mechanism on the right of indigenous peoples?
The purpose of the mechanism is to provide advice to the Human Rights Council about the rights of indigenous people. What the mechanism is doing is they are defining the rights that are in the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and they are fleshing them out. They're taking some of those rights that are articulated in there and telling the Human Rights Council that this is how these rights should be applied, how it should work.
When I started to work on these issues, I felt I was always learning something. And I haven't really stopped learning. I always feel that something is revealed, and it's not revealed about other people's, but about me and my own society. So, for example, when I hear how Indigenous people practice decision-making and work together to try and find consensus, or even here, when there are discussions amongst Indigenous peoples, and I contrast it with our form of democracy, I think, well, my goodness, it's not us who should be going to Indigenous peoples to impose our forms of decision-making and so on. We should rather listen to the consensual way that Indigenous peoples work and bring that kind of learning into our forms of democracy. So I think what we have is there are lots of things about Indigenous cultures which are things that we can learn from, and we should try to learn from them, and learning from them could make us do things better.
Can you tell us about your personal experience in all these years with this work at the United Nations?
Well, it's very, when I reflect back to 1977 when I first started here, when we didn't have a voice at the United Nations at all. And I reflect back to that time when we were here and didn't have a voice. We couldn't take the floor, we couldn't participate, to where we are now, where there's three mechanisms. There's a permanent forum, which has an office and annual meeting in New York, where there's anywhere up to 2,400 delegations come to the meeting. There's the special rapporteur, that's a new mechanism that looks at violations on the rights of indigenous peoples, and this new mechanism as well.
After the adoption of the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, what is changed for your community?
Ну, как мы все знаем, Декларация – это один из основных документов системы ООН по правам коренных народов, и она была принята в сентябре 2007 года. Но, к сожалению, до сих пор Российская Федерация не проголосовала за декларацию и не подписала ее. И, к сожалению, эти принципы, основные заложенные в декларации, в нашем государстве до сих пор еще не действуют.
Pueblo está surgiendo continuamente, pero ahora ya no hay ni productos, ¿ves? En sobreproductos que antes teníamos productos, arroz producíamos, azúcar producíamos, caña de azúcar. pero ahora en lugar de caña de azúcar ya lo plantan la coca. Y la coca más rápido que da el dinero. Y el arroz que trae de Brasil, un maíz lo traen, es para ellos, ¿ves? Ya no hay comida porque todo está plantado, la coca. ¿Ves?
And you think that after the adoption of the declaration, things are really changing for indigenous peoples?
I think there's plenty of evidence that changes are occurring. Probably not as fast as we would like, but nevertheless, there are real changes that are happening. I think that the biggest risk we have at the moment is that governments try to downplay the importance of the declaration, that they make some changes, but not to the extent that they should do.
But I think, and it's my position, that the focus now should move a little bit away from these meetings in high-level meetings and discussions to practical programs at the country level that can bring about changes.
Indigenous people are very different, and different culture, different languages, but they have strong links. You think is a spiritual link?
Well, it's a very important, and thank you for asking that, because over the years that I've been here, I've noticed, yes, we have different languages, we have different cultures, we have different expressions of traditional knowledge and so on, but there's some commonalities, there's some common challenges, there's some common beliefs, and one of the common bonds is the spiritual bond that we have among our people. We have a spiritual connection with each other. The spiritual beliefs of our people, the sacred ceremonies of our people, and other beliefs that indigenous peoples hold are really a strong common bond that links us together.
И это на самом деле чувствуется непосредственно в общении, в понимании друг друга, независимо от того, мы говорим на разных языках, но мы понимаем друг друга.
Anche in Europa esistono i nativi che hanno resistito e hanno mantenuto le loro tradizioni a dispetto delle persecuzioni subite prima dall'impero romano e poi dalla Chiesa cattolica del tempo. Popoli nativi che ancora oggi conservano il ricordo delle persecuzioni e mantengono un riservo piuttosto sostenuto sulla loro esistenza e sulle loro manifestazioni religiose, spirituali e culturali, pur utilizzando ancora luoghi sacri che molte volte vengono ancora oggi chiusi, come è successo a Karnak in Bretagna, oppure come succede da altre parti dove monumenti considerati sacri alla loro cultura sono stati distrutti sistematicamente oppure sono stati abbandonati dalle belle arti che non li hanno assolutamente gestiti e protetti dal tempo e dai vandali. Oggi noi della Eco Spirituality Foundation abbiamo voluto dar visibilità a queste culture e soprattutto alla cultura antica dei nativi europei, erigendo un grande cromlech che testimoniasse sia la loro cultura, che non è andata affatto perduta e che continua ancora ad esistere, e sia le loro antiche tradizioni che fanno parte della nostra cultura, la cultura di tutti, del mondo maggioritario, perché comunque in ogni caso questa cultura che ha antiche radici ha continuato a esistere e a essere conosciuta, anche se non come la cultura delle profonde radici celtiche.
Hay muchos metodistas, ¿sabes? De la iglesia norteamericana que están planteados ahora. Entonces hay otro, hay pelea también entre católicos y de las sectas, ¿sabes? Entonces es un problema que se está manejando para pueblos indígenas.
I think the connection to the earth that indigenous people have, because we all live on the earth and we don't distance ourselves. I think a problem with many modern societies in developed countries is that they lose that connection to to the land and to the environment, you know, and the vegetation and everything, and they become lost people. And indigenous people, we cannot become lost. We can't become like that, because we have a heritage that the Creator gave to us that sustains us, and we have to keep that connection to what sustains us. If we lose that connection, then we will abuse that what sustains us, and we have pollution and what's happening now in the world.